everyone. Welcome. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm really excited that you are here. It's me, it's Stephanie. I'm live at a different time and date, which is not normal, but this week's just been a little funky in our house. So again, welcome. So thrilled that you're here. I'm Stephanie Young, Audacious Success Coach, because I firmly believe that every single one of us should have wild, bold, amazing success in our life. And I'm here to support that and to give you tips and tricks on how to have that wild, audacious success. And normally I'm live on Wednesdays at noon, but this week's been a little bonkers. We had a mini flood in my son's room. And so we've been kind of dealing with that, and I needed to reschedule. And so here we are today, live on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is 8 a.m. Pacific. And I'm really grateful that you guys are here. So thank you for being with me today. The mini, everything is okay. His bedroom's okay. We're okay. We're just dealing with a couple of things with this. Like we had to rip out some carpet and like pull up some baseboards, and we're having potentially some drywall redone. So it's everything again. It's going to be fine, but we're just had to shift some things around this week, but we're really excited. Anyway, I'm really pumped to show you guys my top favorite Google Calendar tips. And my cat Meatball is here as always to share these tips with you as well. You want to say hi? You've been saying a lot of things. And these tips, I will tell you, you could literally do a search and you could find these tips probably anywhere. So I'm not sharing anything that you can't find somewhere else. I don't know that any other human sat down and like made a list of tips and was like, I found this new tip that nobody else knows. But sometimes when we hear a tip from another human, it's either worded the way that our brain and our heart needed to hear it, or maybe we heard the tip a long time ago and now we're in a space where we're like, oh my word, that tip is actually helpful for me. Or even what has happened is that you might have like read this tip somewhere, but you forgot about it, or you weren't in a space to use the tip, and so now hearing it is all new. But these are my favorite ways to use Google Calendar, my favorite 5 ways. I have multiple ways. I could probably make a list of like my 20 favorite ways to use Google Calendar because I made the switch from paper planners to digital planner about 1.5 years, 2-ish years ago. And it has been really helpful for me and for my family. So here I am to share those tips. Now, if you are watching with me live, I'm grateful that you're here. I'm so happy that you're here. And if you're with me on the replay, I'm glad that you came back and took the time out of your busy schedule to be here and learn. Wherever you're from, I'm really grateful. And I'd love to know, are you a paper or digital planner user? Because you can use some of these tips in a paper planner, but most of these are going to work better in a digital planner. So I am going to share my screen so that you guys can see my calendar, but we are going to do our best here with the tips that I have. So my number one tip for using a Google Calendar is to pick categories that you'll actually use. So if you use paper and if you use digital, to pick categories you'll actually use. Now, again, you could do a search. You could 100% do a search and be like, what categories should I have in my planner? And you'll find a list. You could probably find a list, a big, huge, massive list of all the categories that you could possibly have in your planner. And it could be extensive. And so if you are like, oh my word, like thinking about having so many lists would be really overwhelming. Like, again, I found a list that had like over 50 or 60 categories, and my brain was like, I'm going to shut down. So Elizabeth, Elise, Shauna, love that you're all here. So excited for you guys to learn. So if you are like, oh, what category should I put in my planner? And you find a list of 50 and that hurts your brain, you don't have to use 50. So I'm going to show you on mine. So in Google Calendar, my personal calendar, this is the example that I'm using today. These are the only categories that I have: appointments and meetings, birthdays, family, menu planning, self-care, tasks, and work. That's it. Those are the only categories that I have. Now, my main category, like my main calendar, is Stephanie Young, but in Google, these are the categories that I have. Now, you might need to break it down even further, but this is an easy way to get started is to just pick a handful of categories. So I did appointments and meetings. You could break it apart and make it separate, but to me, appointments and meetings are typically important, have to be scheduled, might need to have be driven to, so I put them together. Birthdays, you could do birthdays and anniversaries, put them together. Family, you could have one calendar for your spouse, one calendar for each kid. Just pick. It's personal preference. Menu planning, self care, because I love scheduling that, and tasks and work. So that this is very, you can keep it real basic, but picking categories to help do things the way you want it to do. So I'm also going to show you how you can set up your categories in your calendar because it's great to have them, but if you don't know how to set them up, it doesn't help. In your Google Calendar, you'll come to your settings menu, which is the little icon that looks like a little tool. You'll go to settings, and this is what's really fun. It's under general, not too hard. So we'll come to general where it says add calendar. You'll scroll a little and hit create new calendar, and you'll just name it whatever category you want. So if you really want a category that's like pets and stuff, like maybe you have to take your pet to like doggy daycare, or you got a new kitten and so you have to go to the vet often for shots and stuff. You could do pets, and you can literally create the new calendar, which is a category inside of GCal. I know it feels kind of funky to say, oh, I'm making a new calendar in my calendar, but for some reason they won't just call it categories. Here we are. So it'll make it. I know it says calendar creation in progress, but it'll be there. I did it earlier today. Oh, look, for some reason it didn't do it. Okay, well, it would have been there if I had waited long enough. So here we are. Earlier today, I made a couple of categories for fun, and while I was doing calendar creation in progress and refreshed it, they just showed up. It doesn't typically take that long, but naturally, because I'm live and creating something, it's gonna not do it. But here we are. That's how you would create a category. Oh, look, pets. There we go. My number 2 tip is once you've created your categories is to color code. Now you can color code in a paper planner because you can use highlighters, colored pencils, colored pens, and I will tell you that I do like to color code because I have, and here I'll show you guys this. I'll make myself really big again because like I feel like this deserves to be seen. Why a calendar instead of a label? I will come back to that. I color code. I write in different colored pens because I want different things to stand out when I am writing things in a notebook. For example, I hand wrote the tips so that I didn't forget them, and I wrote them in red because I just started a new page. So why a calendar instead of a label? Do you mean I feel really silly. I've never labeled anything in my calendar. Give me 1 second. I always just make a whole new one because I want it to be specific. Hold on. Let me do this. No. Sorry, I'm playing with this because I want it to be specific. I feel very silly. I don't know. I did not know you could label things in a Google Calendar. I'm not going to lie. After everything I've done in Google Calendar for the last like year and a half, I've literally never labeled a thing in my Google Calendar. So that's real fun. This is the best day of my life. But I will, hold on. Let me share my screen so I can show you how I color code things. And yeah, so let me go back to sharing my screen, and then I'll show you how I color code my calendar. Hold on, where did it go? There it is. Okay. So, because I do color code everything in my calendar, which is super simple. It's right there next to the calendar. You click those little 3 dots, and then you can color code your calendar. So then it is color coded. So I do still color code everything, whether I'm handwriting it on like my notebook or in my calendar itself. So I do color code it. I just don't necessarily use labels. I know that you can use labels and folders in uh, Gmail. I was not aware that you could use labels in a Google Calendar, so I'm gonna look that up after this live. That's super fun. But my calendar is color coded, so that is a doable thing. And like I said, it's all right there, like in your calendars. You can click those little dots and you can change the color. So if you're like, oh, I don't want my appointments and meetings to be red, I pick red or that super bright orange because like to me it's like urgent, bold. I really, really want this to like stand out. But there's how you can color code things. That's pretty simple to me. And you can also make the color custom. So if you're like, I really don't like the colors that Google made and I want to change it, you can come in and give a hex code, or you can kind of drag this along and pick whatever color you want. So if you're like, I really want it to be that really fun, like purpley pink, you can literally change it and make it whatever you want. So adding the categories and then having everything be color coded so that it sticks out and then you have it be whatever you want. So like for me, with all my self-care, it's in purple because purple's my favorite color. And so if I'm taking care of myself, I want it to be purple so that I know, hey, this is for me. The third tip that I love to share when it comes to Google Calendar and how we can use it to make our life better is if you have to do a lot of things that are in two different time zones. So like if you are on the East Coast and you work with a lot of people on the West Coast or in Central Time, and you're constantly doing the whole like, I keep forgetting what time it is where they are. And so when we schedule meetings, I'm always trying to like figure everything out. You can add a time zone, a second or even third time zone in your Google Calendar. So I have Pacific and Eastern on my calendar, and this little arrow right here is indicating that it's like this is expanding for the all day section, but like ta-da, so then we can see all my checklists and everything. But here we go. So my Pacific and my Eastern. So if you want to add a time zone to your calendar, which again, this has made it so much easier because when I am like in a meeting with somebody or I schedule a meeting with somebody and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing it at 9 a.m., but they're Pacific time, that to me is noon. And so then I can see like, oh, hey, like they're just getting up and getting started for their workday while I've been awake for 3 hours. So to set up your time zones, we're going to come back into your settings and we're going to come into our general. So this part right here on the left, and we're going to click right on time zone, which you can actually just scroll here because it's going to show your language. And we're going to come into time zone, and you can add a secondary time zone, and you can literally scroll through and pick any time you want. Oh, I set it on Tijuana, but it's LA. Same difference. And then you can even label it like East. So we could even make this like East and West. And you can save it and it'll say settings saved. But you could pick anything. So if you work with people in London or Tokyo, wherever you work, you can set the time zone so that you know what time they're working and what time you're working. And I really have. I found this to be so helpful because like I have a lot of meetings with people who work on the West Coast, or I coach. I should say I coach with a lot of people. So like my business coach works on the West Coast. So like if she schedules a meeting or a group coaching call with everybody at noon her time, that's 3 p.m. my time. And so like she will have just had lunch and be hopping on a call. So she has tons of energy ready to go. Whereas 3 p.m. my time, I might not be at the like top of my game. So for me, I might need to like recognize like if she's going noon, like everything is at noon, I need to like look at the calendar and go, oh, hey, that might be noon for her when she's at peak energy. Whereas I might not be at peak energy. So I might need to like not schedule something from 2 to 3 that drains more of my energy before I'm getting ready to be coached. So it really has been helpful to have both time zones on there to see how to better space my day. So this time zone thing has been so helpful for me because I'm really able to recognize like how to best set up my day around things that I'm doing that are with other people. And like, for example, like if I'm working with somebody and they're like, oh, I can't do that time, it's like, oh, well, that would make sense. Like that's right in the middle of their dinner time. So if you work with other people and you want the ability to see, like, oh, would this impact their potential lunch, their dinner, their breakfast, whatever, add the time zone of the people that you work with the most to your calendar so that when you're scheduling, you can literally look and be like, oh, hey, like, let's meet at this time here, and that would be here your time. And you know it without having to look it up. It seriously has been so helpful for me. Okay, now this one's a fun one. I love this, and I'm going to show you what I mean. When you schedule an appointment in your calendar, add in the drive time. And I'm going to show you how you can do this. So if you look on the right side, right along your calendar, you can see that there's a little icon for keep, a little icon for tasks, a little icon for contacts, and a little icon for maps. Now, if you come all the way down, you can hit a button that says hide side panel, and then it's not there. So if you don't see your side panel, come down where there's this little tiny arrow and hit show side panel. Hopefully on your desktop or laptop, you'll be able to see this. But you can click on maps right there, and your maps will load right on the side of your calendar. So for fun, I'm going to do an appointment in my calendar right now. So we're going to pretend like we're scheduling for something on the 5th. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I am making an event. So this is going to be an appointment or a meeting. So before I like completely schedule it, I'm going to, let's look something up. Like, let's pretend like I need to look something up. So I'm going to go from Haymarket, Virginia. Let's go from the library near my house. We're going to get directions from the library. I'm going to go ahead and switch it. So we're going to go from the library. Let's say we want to go to the Children's Museum in Washington, D.C. There we go. The National Children's Museum. So if you look at like from the Washington Gainesville Library to the National Children's Museum, it's telling me that right now the estimated time to get there is about 48 minutes. It's 38.2 miles. This route has tolls. And then it can give me the option to take it without tolls. It can let me see, like send the directions to my phone, see more in maps, but it gives me some information about how long it would potentially take me to get to this thing. And so with looking at maps next to my calendar, I can go, okay, so it's going to take about 48 minutes. Now I could also like in my brain go, there, like if there was an accident, this is how much extra time it could take. But with this knowledge now, if I know I want to go to this thing, I can say, kiddo at museum. And maybe this isn't an appointment. Maybe we're just going to do this with our family. So this is going to go on our family calendar and it's automatically going to be color coded. We are going to be busy. So if we wanted to go to the museum when it opened at 10 o'clock, but it's going to take an hour to get there, I'm going to say, let's leave the house by no later than 9. So I'm going to start the appointment at 9. I'm going to add the drive time in to the appointment so that it's telling us like, oh, hey, y'all better leave at 9 so that you get there at 10. Because if you make the appointment in your calendar 10 o'clock, your brain now has to remember, oh, how long does it take us to get there? What time should we leave? When like you need to like your brain has to do all the remembering for you. Instead, to lighten your own mental load, you could build the drive time into your calendar and into the appointment so that you know you already have it there. And when the reminder pops up for you, which we can set in this appointment, I will show you. When the reminder pops up, you can be like, oh, hey, we got to leave in 15 minutes. Let's get moving. And if you know your kid takes longer to get than 15 minutes, then, set your reminder longer. But if you build the drive time in, let's say you want to spend 3 hours there, so 9 to 10. So that cool, we're going to spend at least 4 hours there plus the hour drive back, so 2. So now we know we're going to leave at 9 a.m. We'll get there at 10, spend 3 hours there plus the hour drive back, so 9 to 2. It's not a repeating thing. We aren't going to go back every week. You can add your spouse to this event if you want. So you can add a guest, and then this will be added to their calendar, which is great. You can add the location. So you can do National Children's Museum. You can add it. And this way, this is my favorite. When you go to drive on the date of your, like, we're going to go here, this address will already be populated. So you can grab it and throw it in your GPS. So exciting. If you need to add any information like purchased tickets, tickets in advance, saved an email. You can do that. If you downloaded the tickets, you can attach them in your thing. You can literally attach the tickets that you saved from your email that you put in a Google Drive, which is fantastic. So then you can literally pull them up from your Google Drive to say, so I'm just going to, for fun, I'm going to throw this picture in there because why not? That's nondescript. So now if you bought the tickets early and you got them as a PDF, you can save them in your Google Drive, and now you can add them to this event in your calendar, which praise be. So now you not only do that, you've got your tickets attached to the event plus the date, you've added in the drive time. So that's fantastic. It's on the family calendar. You can add people if you want. So we're going to add the notification. So we're going to add a notification. Let's say we're going to do a notification the day before because maybe you want to like pack a bag of stuff to go with you. So we're going to add a notification the day before, and let's do one 30 minutes before because you know your family needs about 30 minutes to get ready to leave the house. So now what you've done is you have set up this event to do everything for you. You've added in your drive time because you looked at the maps to make sure you know how long it takes you to get there. You've added the tickets to the event so that you'll be able to pull it up when you get to the museum. Again, if you wanted to invite anyone to this event, you could add somebody right here and they'll have the information as well. You've added the notification the day before the event to remind you, oh, hey, we're going to go to the museum tomorrow. And then you've added the reminder 30 minutes before so that you guys can start getting ready. And you can literally save, and it's in your calendar. It's ready to go. Everything that you needed is going to be in that event, and it will all pop up for you simply because you added the drive time into your event. Like, to me, this is such a time saver to start. And I realized that was like 5 tips in one, simply to add the drive time in and then add the location and then add the tickets to the event if that's the kind of thing that you needed to do. But still, adding the drive time into an event can save you so much hassle because then when you have it built into your calendar, you don't accidentally book a meeting when you needed to be on the road. Or if you add the drive time at the end of an event, you don't accidentally book a meeting when you are going to be driving home from something. This can help us in so many ways when we add that buffer time in already. So I love this. I love adding drive time into things and then also adding as much information as we need to our event so that we have it when we need it. Okay, my 5th tip for using Google Calendar, one of my favorite ways to use it is to use it for meal planning. So I'm going to show you. So this is my menu planning calendar right here. I'm actually going to go ahead and take my tasks off for a hot second so that you guys don't have to see it. That should have taken it off. Of course, it's not gonna. Okay, but my meal plan, there we go. Yay, it did it. Okay, it just takes a second. So my meal plan is on my calendar. I'm going to see if it'll show the whole month. Yay! So I built my meal plan into my calendar, and some things repeat every week. Like if you look real close, you can see like pizza night is every Friday. Like we eat pizza every Friday in our house. It's a thing we do. Our family can count on it. It's just easy. I order every Friday for the family and we take turns paying, and it has made our life so much simpler because by the end of the week, we're all tired and no one wants to cook. But you can literally build your menu plan, and you can be really specific and build specific meals, or you can be really general and be like super open, like, hey, we're going to have Italian every other Wednesday. And then you can be like, oh, we have lasagna, we have spaghetti, we have Alfredo, we have this, whatever you want. but we have pizza night every Friday in our house. Saturday is figure it out. Maybe we cook. Maybe we go out. Maybe we don't. Maybe we have cereal, but Saturday we figure it out. Sunday, we typically have breakfast for dinner, but you can literally build your menu into your calendar. And this is just an example. And I talked about menu planning more last week. So if you want more about menu planning, I can send you the link for last week's. You can literally drop menu plan in the comments and I'll get you the link. But this is literally, you can menu plan in your Google Calendar, and then you can have all the information that you could want for your dinners just living in your calendar so that you don't have to stress about it. Easy peasy, right there, good to go. So that is my 5th tip for using Google Calendar, is you can build your menu plan in your calendar. Now I'm going to give you all a bonus tip. I'm going to give you all a bonus today. So it's like my 6th favorite way to use Google Calendar. So I'm sure when you saw me take tasks off, you were like, oh my goodness, what on earth was all of that? So my favorite, like my 6th favorite way to use my Google Calendar is I use it for making my own routines. And I do this with tasks, but it helps me. And I know that it looks like a lot because I even have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner on here. But I've been using it this way. I made a couple of task lists. So, like, this is my daily routine where I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I have lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So, my lunch, breakfast, and dinner, well, they were scheduled at a specific time, but I must have messed that up when I was setting it up. But this is my way to remember, like, oh, hey, like, have breakfast, because sometimes I forget. So, like, I can come in and mark it as complete. I brush my teeth, mark as complete. Oh, oops, I'm marking it off for next week, but for the example. Oh yeah, because it's Sunday, not Monday. Whatever. But like this is what helps me stay on my routine, is that I built out what I wanted to do every day, and then every day I can come in and I can check off all those things that need to be done. So I did it with my routine. So every morning, wash my face, brush my teeth, have breakfast. That's typically what I do. Those are the 3 things I do every day, get my kid ready. And then I did the same thing with my chores list, is I picked all the chores that needed to be done, and then I assigned them to specific days. So like some things get done on Sundays, some things get done on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that I'm not doing all my chores every single weekend. So some days have more things to check off than others, but for the most part, it's not too crazy. But you can literally build a routine in your task list and then have it just be there to check off on your calendar. Oh my goodness. My cat decided he desperately needed to sit next to me while I was live right in this moment. So that's the 6th and my probably most favorite way to use my Google Calendar, is that I built my chores list and my routines, and then I put them on my calendar so that I can literally just come in and check things off. And then, because there's a lot of fun in checking stuff off on a to-do list, like, no joke. I love, love, love checking things off of a to-do list. But having it be here and scheduled means that I don't have to write the same to-do list over and over and over again. And so this has really helped me be like, okay, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And while it might seem kind of silly to write brush teeth, wash face on my routine list, if you have small kids, you probably know that some mornings don't go as smoothly as others. And so if you are having a rough morning in your house where like everything is falling apart and like just stuff is bonkers, or like you wake up and you're not feeling well, sometimes it's nice to have that reminder to be like, hey, did you actually do that thing that's normally something you do every day, but like in the hustle and bustle of like everything just fell apart? Did you go do that thing? Did you take care of yourself? So I put those little things on there to be my reminder of like, hey, Steph, go take care of yourself. But these are the 6 ways that I like use my calendar, my 6 favorite tips. I gave you the bonus one of how I have used my calendar to like make my life a little less stressful and a little less overwhelming. And again, you may have heard these tips before, maybe you have seen them, but to put them into practice and actually use them has really reduced my overwhelm, it's reduced my stress, and it's helped me actually get more things accomplished in my life. It's helped me be more successful. And what's really exciting is that this is what I've been watching, and not watching, but this is what I'm helping my clients implement. And I'm watching them see success in their life by doing some of these things as well, by having them pick out the categories that they really, really want to have in their calendar. Seeing them say, this is what I want in my life. These are the things that I really want to have scheduled, by helping them color code so that they know, okay, this is like the things that are my self care. These are the things that are for my family. That has been really fun to watch happen. By seeing them say, these are the priorities in my life and these are the goals I want to work towards, it's been really exciting to see them implement. It's been fun. Only a couple of them, I don't know that any of them have implemented the time zone thing because most of them, their family lives near them, and so they haven't needed to use it. But I know for some of my business owner friends, the time zone thing has been really, really helpful for them because when we're scheduling meetings with people, it's been kind of rough to like get on the same page with the time zone. So that's been really fun. I know adding our meal plans to our calendars, me and a bunch of my clients have started doing that. And even yesterday, one of my clients literally messaged me to say, Stephanie, this has been so helpful for our family because now we know what we're going to be making every night. Like, even if it's just the broad topic of Italian, it's been so much easier for us to say, hey, Thursday is Italian night. Do we want to have spaghetti? Do we want to have gnocchi? Do we want to have stuffed shells? Like, what would we like to have this night for Italian when we meal plan? It's been so much more helpful for us. And knowing that this has actually been helping people is thrilling because my favorite tips aren't necessarily your favorite tips, but seeing people put into action some things that can make life simpler has been fantastic. I know for a couple of my clients, adding in the drive time has been a game changer for them because now they're not late to things anymore, which, yay! And then lastly, building out our actual routines has been so fun and so transformational because it can be really fun to check things off of a list, but having to remember what to put on our list every single day can simply add more stress than we actually need. But having it done for us, like, so much easier. So if you've watched this today and thought, oh my goodness, I could use some help implementing some of these tips, you are in luck. I have some VIP day spots available where we can work together one on one. And if you're like, I would actually really prefer to be in the community with your clients working on this, we have room in our membership as well. But I'm really excited because we have space in both of these places where you can get support implementing any of these tips and tricks that you might need help with. And if you were like, actually just watching this is enough for me, that is amazing too. But I'm so excited to be able to share these tips with you. And if you would like the notes, my notes about how to implement these tips, you can drop notes in the comments and I will get those to you probably in a couple days once they've been typed up and everything. Because again, I literally hand wrote them for today instead of typing them like I normally do. But I'm grateful that you wanted to spend this time with me so that I could show you my favorite ways to use Google Calendar so that you can have favorite ways to use Google Calendar to lessen your overwhelm and lessen your stress and start to just have some peace in your life with your schedule and how you can have some more peace in your routines. Friends, thank you so much for being with me, whether you were live or on the replay. I'm unbelievably grateful for you all. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day, and I will see you guys next week. I will let you know if I will be live on Wednesday or Thursday, because again, we're just doing a little bit of construction down here in our basement. But either way, I love and adore you all and hope you have super amazing, audacious success until we are back together live again.